With radioligand therapies, the side effects with this more targeted therapy compared to some of our other cancer therapies can be, much more manageable for a lot of patients. We want to help people live longer, but I think it's really important that we do that, helping them have as good a quality of life and as little side effects as possible at the same time.
What if a cancer treatment worked like a GPS-guided missile, where it looked and found hidden tumor cells and then delivered radiation while sparing the healthy tissue? That is the promise of radioligand therapy, and it's happening. It's actually FDA approved for patients with thyroid, lymphoma, neuroendocrine malignancies, as well as prostate cancer. Joining me today is the amazing Dr. Hannah McManus, whose research and clinical interests are in prostate cancer, where radioligand therapy known as PLUVICTO is being used for our patients with prostate cancer. So, Hannah, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. Really excited to talk.
Super excited to have you. So let's just start off. What is radioligand therapy? How does it work?
Radioligand therapy is a new type of cancer therapy to let us deliver targeted radiation. So it's taking, a tiny, tiny piece of radiation and tagging that to the delivery mechanism to take that radiation directly to a cancer cell.
So it's a form of radiation, right? Delivered to the whole body as opposed to one beam that you would typically have for a localized therapy.
Yeah, so it's broadly like a targeted radiation. So that's different than if we think about sort of external beam radiation or what most people think of with radiation, where you're directing radiation from the outside at a spot of cancer within the body. And that can be really effective. We've known that for a long time, but it really allows you just to radiate that area that you're targeting. Whereas with radioligand therapy, it's allowing us to give radiation safely, intravenously, and that reaches cancer anywhere in the body that's making that target.
It was usually one beam going to one place, and you couldn't get it to all the places where the cancer's hiding. And for your types of treatments, you're tagging it to something called prostate-specific membrane antigen, right? PSMA. How do you deliver that, and how do you know who may or may not benefit from such treatment?
Yeah, so I think it starts with that piece of figuring out who might be a candidate for this treatment. And we do that with a type of scan called a PET scan that's looking for that target, PSMA, a protein that is on a lot of different prostate cancers.
I tell my patients we want the disease to sort of light up like a Christmas tree, right? So the brighter it is, the more potentially effective because they have more of those receptors on the cell.
So right now, this is a therapy that's approved to be given, in patients who have metastatic cancer. The way this medicine is given is it's given as an intravenous injection that's given in a radiation safe area at the cancer center.
All outpatient.
All outpatient, yeah. So I think that's a key part to note, right? So all of this is happening like you're coming to a regular clinic appointment to some extent, like walking in and then leaving. Overall, the side effects with this more targeted therapy compared to some of our other cancer therapies can be, much more manageable for a lot of patients. And that's really exciting because we want to help people live longer, but I think it's really important that we do that, helping them have as good a quality of life and as little side effects as possible at the same time.
100%. I think you and I both care for patients that we may not be able to cure it when it spreads, but they can live for many years. It becomes so critical on what we're using, when we're using it, and what that quality of life allows us to do.
Hopefully over the coming years, we're going to see many other cancers being evaluated with these therapies and having those as options. I think it's going to be really exciting to hopefully help patients.
So I think we're talking about a similar technology, but for many different diseases, which essentially means different results. So in the neuroendocrine world, this has been an absolute game changer because we see patients that have prolonged responses. The average was about 2.5 years, but sometimes many, many more, and sometimes a lot less. Share a little bit about the findings in PLUVICTO and, sort of what you see in terms of responses.
Yeah, so in prostate cancer with PLUVICTO, when we look kind of in our most recent area of prostate cancer where we're using it sort of after hormone therapy, we were seeing on average it's keeping the cancer from growing for close to a year on average. But I think with an average rate, you said, like, there's really kind of two ends to that. And there can be many patients who have even longer responses than that too, where the PLUVICTO is, shrinking the cancer, but then really importantly, keeping it from growing and spreading.
It's pretty rare to make it completely go away. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we certainly see in prostate cancer complete responses where we see, the light up on the scan goes away. We can't see the cancer anymore. And in prostate cancer, we have the PSA blood test we can follow, which is, really exciting for patients when we see that go to zero. And that can last for, varying amounts of time, sometimes for patients months to years. But like you said, in general, we're not seeing that last forever for most patients. The goal, hopefully, is to figure out how do we use these in a way to make that happen in the future, and just kind of keep getting those numbers better and better.
Up until now, it was or is a therapy that's given at major academic centers. I mean, do you see this as generalizable to go into the community and other places?
Delivering this drug is pretty complicated. I kind of said there's that part where it's like there's a whole team and coordination and multiple specialties that go into actually making sure patients safely get the drug and get it at the most effective way it can be delivered. I do think increasingly this, PLUVICTO at least is being given in larger community settings. And that's exciting to see patients getting access. And then I think, important to us, right, is saying, like, how can we help with that at Duke? And so I think, efforts to move this into some of our broader sites, like our Raleigh clinics, is really important because, that quality of life piece we talked about, some of that is coming to and from a cancer center. And if we can make that easier for patients, that's really important. For many patients, this is a really effective therapy. I think there's some patients where we hope they would work better, and sometimes we don't really understand why. So I think we have many kind of interesting ongoing studies, some of which we're participating in and leading at Duke, to try to identify patients who may be more likely to benefit or likely not to. And then for those patients that we say, hey, maybe they're less likely to benefit, is there something we can add to make the PLUVICTO or the available therapies work better? Can we actually sort of personalize how we give these drugs? So like with most cancer therapies, we give kind of as much as we can because we don't really have a way to know if we're targeting is still there. And this, with radioligand therapies, we have this unique tool of actually seeing the target. And it makes sense if the target's not there, maybe save it for later when the target is there. And if it's there, go after it, use your tools. And I just think we have so much, future development and exciting things we can do with that tool.
Exciting stuff. Thank you so much for all you do and for joining me.
Oh, thanks. It's so fun to talk about.
Super
Same.
Fun.